All right, let's get this thing going. All right. So I'm excited to have you guys here. This is a good opportunity for us to get to work, and more importantly, to take a very uncertain time and turn this into something that we can make the most out of. Obviously, this is not where we want to be. I think every one of us in our sports want to be in a position where we're excited, and we're competing, and we're doing the things that matter. And so I wanted to bring on Billy Horschel here in a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to say a couple things here real quick. If for some reason we have a lag in our technology, because it is a technological system, there's a refresh button at the top of your screen. Hit that button. Sometimes it freezes, sometimes it hiccups. It'll come back. If you have a question, make sure at the right time you can hit the speak button or the chat button, and we'll make it work. And we will, go from there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. When he pops back up, we're gonna go. A couple things I want you guys to focus on here as we're going through this time. And this is just, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I want to answer your questions, but I want you a couple things that we're doing here that's important. And what I want you to understand is that as a player, as a competitor in every sport that you're in, the brilliance of where you are right now is how you've historically managed the uncertainty. The uncertainty is a challenge. There's no doubt in our mind about that. But the thing that's important is, understanding that right now, we've never seen uncertainty like we see right now. This is unprecedented times. Before we get started, though, I want you guys to know that I'm a clinical psychologist first and foremost. And what that means is, I am here as somebody who has specialized in the combination of the behavioral medicine, so kind of what happens in the way the mind interacts with the human body and medical conditions, as well as the way that we we heal and the way that we go through chronic illness. There is no greater time right now than the combination between our psychological state and our medical conditions. And that's what makes it difficult, because where we're struggling is we've got a lot going on right now. Every time we see a news conference, something's crazy is going on. There's something scary. And I think it's really difficult for us to have to understand how to manage the uncertainty that we have. But as a clinical psychologist, I only work with athletes. Yeah, absolutely. But we're going to try to maintain some structure in our life. And that's what I'm going to try to give you guys today. Okay. So I'm going to send one quick message here and we will get going. Okay. Okay. And when Billy pops on, I'm going to grab him and I'm going to include him on this. Okay. We know that this coronavirus pandemic, we all have different ideas and different backgrounds. And if you go on social media right now, it's a total firestorm. And really, to be honest with you, that's not the time. We know we have certain things going on. We have an explosion of a virus going on across this world. And, in today's world, we're talking about the interconnectivity of people across social media and interactions and stuff like that. But, one of the things that I find that is amazing is that because we're so connected, we know real time what people are going through. And because this map, look at this map. This map doesn't say everything's under control. What this says is, oh my gosh, there is a lot of fear here. There's a lot of apprehension here. Okay? That doesn't make us feel good. What that means is that we're sitting there watching in real time, but we don't know who these people are. And we don't know if people are recovering or not. All we're doing is taking on the burden and the stress across every facet of what we're doing. Okay. And can you imagine back during Pearl Harbor? Can you imagine back during World War II, if we got real-time updates? The stress and the worry would be astronomical. And so why social media is brilliant, and I think we should continue to utilize it to connect, just like we're doing here. The scary thing is we've got way too much information at our hands. These are unprecedented times. Anytime you look at the news media and you see things like this, it is very, very scary. Okay. And the scary part is that, we are sitting there worried about what we need to do. It is not fun. It is very difficult to be in a situation of fear. It is very difficult to see dead bodies being pressed out. And if you look at the reports coming from China way back when, and you look at the reports that are coming back from Italy, it's terrifying. And just today, I watched the news conference of the governor of New York, and he's talking about creating hospitals out of college campuses. These are unprecedented times, okay? But there's a single unit that doesn't change, and that's us working together, okay? And we're going to work through this, okay? Just like we're going to work through the technology, we're going to work through the opportunities, and more importantly, we're going to work through people that we know that get ill and sick. The problem is, okay, and I'm going to get to what to do, so don't worry, I'm not sitting here going to be a doomsdayer. The problem is we have a concept called fear. And fear is an emotion in the human body that is wonderful. It tells us if we're walking through the woods and it's not good, and all of a sudden we got a problem, and oh my goodness, holy cow, we got a problem on our hands, and blah, blah, blah. And yet at the same time, it helps us respond to that challenge by identifying threat. But right now, we don't know what the threat is. We don't know what our worry is, okay? And as a result, I think what we have to do is take a step back and say, what is it that we really need to do in this fearful time versus being lost and being worried about all the bombardment of information? You and I, if I'm in Alabama, you're in Florida, you're in Texas, whatever, all we can do is take care of the people around us and allow our government and our officials that are leading this take care of it. It's not our burden and our responsibility, okay? But unfortunately, that's why we've led to things just like this. We've run out of toilet paper. I mean, you're kidding me. And I'm going to out my mom here for a minute because something that she said that I thought was brilliant, which was the idea of as a player, as a person, she said, oh my goodness, she said, the number of times that we have in our life that I've had to use alternative forms. She said, I grew up in a situation where I didn't have toilet paper growing up. She said we couldn't afford it, and we had outhouses. She said I grew up in a spot where we had an outhouse, and she said I had to use every piece of information I had. And so here we are with the modern technology, stress about what we don't have, and we got to go back to the basics here. We can do this. It's okay to eat bacon sandwiches. It's okay to eat peanut butter and jelly. We don't have to eat the greatest things every day. All right, Billy's joining now. We're going to get this going on. Okay. Okay. Now, it's normal to be fearful. And it's also normal to react emotionally. Many of you on this call are athletes in the college rank.
Hey everybody, Billy here. It's a little different, not able to talk to Brett or hear Brett, so we're communicating through text right now. But what Brett and I have been working on this year, I have to actually think about it. One thing that I've always said about Brett that I think is a very high praise is, for me at least, we have conversations throughout the year of what I'm thinking about that time, or maybe some emotions or pressure or anything else that's going on. And just by talking to him and him giving me some great advice, some good examples, and a couple other things to think about and focus on, or maybe just something to read. It's just sort of an innate ability now that it's natural, it's organic. So, tell them what I'm doing right now with this uncertainty. So right now, it's a crazy situation with everything that we got going on. I'm just trying to be a dad, trying to figure out all of my, what's going on in the world. Also hanging out with my kids. I think, like anybody, or at least for myself, I want to know when this is going to end. I want to know how this is going to end. I want to know when we get back to normalcy. I like to plan things in my life, and this is a big disruption in it. But everything that Brett and I have worked on over the last couple of years, I understand when I start feeling these things are out of my control, things I can't control, uncontrollables. So for me, I'm just focused on what I can control, hanging out with my kids, spending time with them, making sure they're doing well in this unusual time right now. They are supposed to go back to school tomorrow, and they're not. So now we were on spring break last week. So now it's week 2 of hanging out with them and keeping them occupied and energy. Me personally, I'm working out, still going about my business as I normally would, having a golf ball. But I think one thing that's been pretty cool is it's just sort of happened by stance is that started this Peloton. I've had a Peloton for 4 years, and I know Roy's had one, and we've talked about our rides and certain things. And I saw he did a ride, a couple weeks ago, and I just want to challenge myself to see if I could keep up with him. I came up a little short, and then a couple days later, I decided to do a ride and challenge him, and he kicked my ass. I challenged him again 2 more days later, and once again he kicked my butt again. So it's just something to keep my mind off, whether it's 30, 45 minutes, hour and a half, any anxiety, any stress, any pressure like that you're feeling. It's just easy for me to go in there, work out, and just get rid of it that right then and there. And it's just just trying to do the same things over and over. What would 2 or 3 things tell you athlete can work on? So I think a couple things athletes or youth athlete or any athlete can work on right now. I think what in this time that you have, these 8, 9, however long it's going to be, what do you want to get out of it? And that's what I said. So I've got 8, 9 weeks off. What do I want to get out of these 8, 9 weeks? So 3 things is, or a couple things is, I want to get my fitness. I mean, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape, but I want to take it to another level. I just want to get stronger. I want to work on my core. I just want to add some strength to it, and hopefully that turns into some power and speed. Second thing, I've got some testing that I'm going to do with some equipment. So that's one thing. But a mental thing I'm going to do is I'm reading some books that Brett and I that he's given me, and I'm going to try and grow as a person, grow as a competitor, as a golfer. So when I get back out on the golf course, I know how to. I've already made improvements, and I'm saying, hey, I've got better these last 8, 9 weeks. I don't know what these other guys have done out there. I know a couple guys have probably been working out or doing something, but have they made themselves truly a better player, a better person, a better human? And that's what I'm trying to do. The golf side is one thing, but I'm trying to and grow myself as not only physically but mentally, and mentally being the more important thing. So for you, it's like if there's an aspect in your game that you feel you're a little weak on, or you want to improve on, then hammer that in. Figure out, hey, listen, I don't do well under pressure. When I get in a certain situation, I sort of get a little tense and tight. Read a couple books. What you're going to find out is everyone has the same feelings. One thing I always tell myself on the golf course when I have pressure is everyone's dealing with it. Everyone's nervous over a 5-footer, or everyone's, if you're a baseball player, you're a pitcher, and it's bottom of the 9th inning, and you're coming to relieve a game. There's the other guys are feeling the same thing, but who's going to handle it? Whoever handles it the best, that they're going to succeed right then and there. So figure out some books that can help you with that. If it's preparation, how can I turn my preparation from what I do in practice and take it to the game day? Figure out something. Figure out some books to read. Like I said, I think reading for me has been so beneficial because you can read and get so many different aspects from different other people. And one thing a coach always told my college coach, Bud Alexander, always told me was that you're going to get a lot of information in your life, and some of it's good and some of it's bad. It's your job to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So figure out what works for you, and then throw the rest of it to the side and work on that one thing, whether it be in your golf swing or whether it be your mental thing. So that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm trying to read a lot of books, and I may not take every little aspect that person says in the book, but there's little key little points that I take in. I write down in a journal, or I have in my phone, that I just remind myself on. And I think Roy McIlroy, if you guys haven't seen it, try and find the piece that Golf Channel ran over players, him talking about some of the books he's been reading. Really, really unbelievable. Like I said, Roy's a friend, and I think we're always trying to look at people to look up to, how we can aspire to be them or get better. And even myself, I mean, even someone like me in my career, I'm looking at other people. How can I improve, and who can I learn from? and Rory is one of them. He's one of my best competitor, but I'm learning from him and how he handles some things that I think we both are sort of in the same similar situation. And with mine, I think he's a little bit further longer and progressed. And Brett and I had this conversation at Players. So that's been something that's beneficial to me. And I guess one more piece of advice is understand is that everything's gonna turn out. One thing Brett's always said to me, where we are in this is where we're supposed to be. And that's where we're supposed to be. Don't look back at the past. Don't look back at the future. Look at what you have right now and then. And this is where you're supposed to be right now. And then, in 8 weeks' time, after this, hopefully this coronavirus goes away, this is who we're going to be in 8 weeks' time. So for me, who am I hoping to be? Physically, I'm hoping to be a better, stronger Billy, myself. But mentally, I'm hoping I'm a better human being. I hope I can handle situations better. I've done a better job with my team and interacting with them and being the same person every day. Sometimes I can get a little too much of myself and get a little snippy with my guys, and that's not the person I want to be. So I'm hoping to be a better individual in that way. I've already feel like I made that improvement, a little bit over the last 6 months, but I'm trying to be even better. And then as a competitor, I'm trying to hopefully not let things out of my control, out of what I can control affect me. Perfect example is I love Twitter. I love socializing with people on the internet. That's, Instagram, Twitter. I love all that. And I read all the comments. Is it a good thing that I read all the comments? Possibly not. But there's a lot of good. I love hearing from people. And then sometimes it's just, you get the idiot out there who wants to say something. And that one comment sticks out more than the 40 other great comments you hear from all the other support you receive. So for me, I'm trying to not let that one comment affect me going forward and understand that they don't dictate who I am. I dictate who I am. So hopefully this has been helpful for you all. Brett's great. I've been working with him for, 3 years now, and it's been unbelievable so far. Or 2 years. I think it's 2 years now. So you're going to learn a lot from him. So take notes and have fun with it.
Billy, thank you. I know you can't hear me, but we've been texting. Thank you so much. And, this is a great opportunity. Billy Horschel's number 34 in the world. I know I've got a couple other players here on the line, and we're going to go through the slides. Anything comes up later. I think the brilliance of what Billy talks about is exactly what we talk about all the time. And I wanted you guys to see the link there of really what it takes for us. And what it goes through, and a player that many of us worry about and think, these are the struggles that we have, and these are the same things that you are going through. So we're going to rock on here, but exactly what Billy said, that is the exact same thing that I'm going to give you. So I'm going to go through some details here. If you look on the chat, somebody's posted a link to the readings that I love. Many are the same ones that Billy's got. Now, he's not snippy with his team. He's on himself a little bit too much there. Billy's an absolute pleasure to work with. And please make sure you follow him at Billy Ho on his Twitter page and Instagram. And if you want to see what he's doing with Rory, it's incredible. I'm going to highlight him a little bit more here at the end. But as you could see, as we started talking, even during this presentation, the apprehension, Billy and I were working together at the end of Thursday at the Players Championship when all of a sudden we'd gone home that night. I'd gone to my hotel room and we get a notice that the Players Championship was canceled. It was a weird time. And my other players were all in the very same position. Everything got canceled like that. And I know for our college athletes, that was unbelievable to all of a sudden be preparing for postseason if you're a winter athlete or golfer. And all of a sudden now, boom, it's gone, right? It's gone. And it's so frustrating because what do we fight for? What do we compete for? We compete for competition. Okay. And, I think when we see things like come out for the NCAA, the first thing that pops in our mind is we get frustrated, we get angry, and we get disappointed. But the reality is during that time, there's a lot of things that we can't control. I mean, who would have ever thought the Masters would have been postponed? I mean, my wife and I were talking about this today. We were talking about, planning, right, as a business. Who would have ever thought? How could you ever prepare? And I know people are out there on social media saying, oh, we should have known. No. What about high school seniors who do they really? I saw Florida may have passed a resolution that's going to allow high school seniors to return for their senior year to compete. Do high school seniors really want to repeat another year of college or high school before they go to college or move on in their life? So I think we have to be careful here. and also appreciate that there is a couple emotions that are happening. And one of the emotions is loss and grief, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Okay. Listen, we're all in this together. We laugh on social media. I was with a group of guys 6 feet apart, but today we were standing around talking, and it was like, well, what are you going to watch today on a Sunday? Well, there's no sports. Oh, NASCAR was doing a simulation and a driver simulation, and everybody went home to watch it, right? I mean, that's amazing. Okay, so here's one of the top athletes in the world at his sport, FedEx Cup champion, talking about the same thing that we're all going through. We're all in this together, y'all. Okay, let's take a 2-second here review of why do we love sports so much. Can you imagine how excited you're going to be when you go back out and compete again? There are a lot of benefits for it. There are social benefits. We love being around our teammates and our colleagues. We love being and fans talking good about us. We love the quality time with our family and our coaches, the positive learning environment and pushing through. The health benefits are great too. I don't know about you, but there's a lot more couch time right now and Netflix time and prime time going on. And, I think we see a lot of changes with that, but there's also psychological benefit. It develops character. It builds discipline and work ethic, and that's at risk right now. And I want to help you through that, okay? But what we're missing is competition. You heard Billy talking. He and Rory, if you haven't followed their Instagram, please do. Their stories about what they're doing with their Instagram. They're competing on the Peloton, and I'm going to come back to something that you can do with that. But it's really important because the Peloton for them is giving them a brilliant strategy to compete and keep that competitive mindset and that saw still working. Like, I love to compete. We were doing a puzzle last night with my family, and we were competing about who could find the pieces. That's what we love about sports, is getting it and mixing it up. Competition also brings us purpose to our day. If we know we have a competition coming up, we raise our mindset up. It helps our motivation. It finds the desire inside of us. And even more than that, it picks up the resiliency to work through what we're doing. When it gets hard, if we have a competitor, we can find that key inside of us, okay? And then all of a sudden, it's gone. It's gone. I mean, how much would you pay right now to watch a live sporting event? I'd watch anything. I would watch any two things competing against each other. Can't hear me anymore, Jonathan? Uh-oh. Okay. Refresh your page. I think it should be that. Okay. So I'm going to try to keep this one to about under an hour, Kishore. Okay. All right. So what's impacting our psychological health right now? Social distancing. Okay. Social distancing is a critically important thing. And I've got a concern from a psychological standpoint that isolation. We know psychological isolation has side effects. Yes, there will be a replay of this. You'll get an email immediately, Janet, right after the end of this. Social isolation is critical. And when what we're seeing is sites out in Italy and New York City where people are being isolated, that they're connecting through other means. They're standing on their balcony and singing. But the psychological adverse side, the bad side of isolation, is a lot of people have an increase of depression, sadness, lack of motivation. And I could give you study after study after study about the negative side of isolation. You don't need it because you already know it. It's a scary place to be. We can't allow ourselves to be socially distant. We can be distant socially, but we can't be socially distant from one another. And that's a little play on words, but we have to stay connected. I mean, come on, nonstop bad news. You can't even turn on the news right now without hearing about more deaths. You can't turn on the news to hear about more states locking up. As a small business owner, it's scary. It's really scary. There's no doubt about it. And it's a problem. Okay. And grief. Can you, think about it. Some of you who are seniors in high school or college, who all of a sudden you didn't get that senior day. You didn't get that last day, that last competition. And, we've often said that, you should treat the sport with all the respect in the world, because guess what will happen? It could be taken from you at any moment. And it did. It did. Okay. So, I agree with personal distance is a better term than social distance. Well, I agree with that, because we got to also protect against the grief. And where grief gets bad is when we have high uncertainty and high isolation. And we can't allow the grief of losing sports, losing the world that we know right now. I'd love to go into a Walmart right now and look at a full rack of paper towels, right? I would love to go out for dinner on a Friday night with my family. And I would love to go give a high five to a colleague on the golf course or go to a live sporting event. I would love that. There's a lot of fake news out there, and I'm not trying to say one thing or the other, but be careful what you're clicking on. There's a lot of clickbaity ads on, even with reputable sites. I stopped following CNN today, not because I dislike CNN, but because on social media, their headlines are inflammatory and they're not necessary right now. And I know I don't follow any other news sites anyways. I've stopped following them all because I can get my news selectively. I don't need to be fed it. There's a lot of fake news, and I think we need to be connected to one another and not allow people who have agendas to drive our fear. Got to remember one thing about news sites: they make money the more you watch, the more you click, the more you read. And I think we've got to stay connected to one another, but physically apart. Okay. The other thing too is, what's the impending room? Okay. I got to believe that positive news is coming. I'm an optimist, and I believe strongly that we can do this. Okay. There's three major areas that this will impact you. It's going to impact you physically, it's going to impact you mentally, and it's going to impact you in your work. Okay. I'm going to come back, Jonathan, about your goals that you can set right now. That's part of my presentation a little bit. Major areas physically. If you were in the best shape of your life, it's hard to stay in that shape right now. We want to keep you well. We want to keep you healthy from the coronavirus. We also want to keep you moving and physically healthy. We don't need you getting out of shape or feeling like a slug. We know that sedentary lifestyle, sitting around all the time, is not good for your health. So we need to boost that and hit that. Mentally, we have to have purpose and engagement and work. We got to get our stuff done. If you're in school, you still have school reports to do. And it's going to be harder now because you're socially isolated. You're distanced from other people and you're online. Okay. So all of a sudden, we're questioning, what do we do? What am I supposed to feel? And who's this identity and purpose of me? I mean, does it really matter that we're athletes? Yes, it does. But in the grand scope of things, does it? Yes, it does. But we can question that. So let's talk about how you can manage this impact. This is the guts of it, okay? So we're going to go back to those three sections: physical, mental, and your work. And work will be either school or work that you do every day. All right, so let's talk about the physical aspects of training. Even you're on the way to the quarantine 15 pounds. No, we don't want to do that. Even me got on the treadmill today. I was inspired by Billy and Rory, and I got on the Peloton actually and got after it. Even after going out for a walk, I came in. Get a training journal set up. You don't have to go to the store, but if you want to, you can. And just get paper and start journaling your time. Journal what you do every day and keep a record of that. You don't have to record what you're eating. I'm not asking you to do that. But I am asking you recording what you're doing from a physical stance. You can do body weight exercises, right? You can find alternative ways to train. Get creative. Find things that you can do. You can do lunges. You can do push-ups. You can do the God-loved burpees. You can do Zoom workouts. And there's all kinds of online resources available for body workouts right now on YouTube. If you want to get your butt kicked, go on a YouTube channel with body weight workouts. We've got to adapt. It's not ideal, but the alternative is much worse. Okay. Challenge yourself to train in new ways. Try something new. Give it a shot. And you can challenge teammates and friends remotely. If I'm not mistaken, my daughter said that you can set up if you have an iWatch, you can set up training groups to monitor each other. If you use Peloton, if you use, you can use your health app, and you can monitor the workouts that you've done and the calories that you burn. Make it a competition physically. The fact is, it doesn't mean it has to be sport specific. Right now, we just need to be physically engaged and moving. The last thing that we need as a society is this virus to attack us because we've gotten unhealthy, we've gotten slow, and we've gotten sitting on our butt disease. We don't need sit on your butt disease. We need get up, get after it, and let's be warriors in the face of this virus, okay? Let's get better. Nobody can stop you from getting better. That's a choice you have to make. Turn off the Netflix, turn off the Prime, turn off the Xbox, turn off Instagram, turn off TikTok, and get your butt moving, okay? All right. And if you're working on your sport, whether it's down in your basement or hitting into a net or doing tee drills or working on basketball, whatever it is, this is a brilliant time to work on something you've wanted to work on because you don't have a competition tomorrow. You have something else to work on, all right? You don't have that urgency of having to perform at your best down the road, okay? Look, physically, discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs a ton. I asked Billy a very simple question. Who are you going to be when you leave this? And the point was, he wants to set up a goal when he walks back out on that golf course. He's proud of himself. Physically, I want you to do the same thing. Okay? Let's go to the business side of training, our work. Here's something for you. Okay? Make your bed. Get up every morning and make your bed. Do not lay around and be a slug. First of all, if you're a college age or high school age kid, your parents don't want slugs in the house. They've got cabin fever too. Get up, get active, get moving. Do more chores. Okay? Do more chores. Do your job. If you have homework to do, do it first thing in the morning. If you have things that you have to do with your family, take care of it. If you're a professional athlete who's on this, get up, take care of your bills, take care of your responsibilities, plan your meals. Do the hard things first because then the easy things are more fun, right? But if you do the things that are the hardest things first, get up, get moving, plan your day, do your homework, do your online lessons, make your bed. You're going to feel better when you go to bed at night. The biggest thing I'm concerned for athletes across the board is a very strong one, is the feeling of being sluggish and lack of motivation. That will not automatically turn back on when the virus is defeated. You've got to win that war right now. As an athlete, win that war right now. Don't let this get you. Be the best in your field. Be the best at your game at taking care of your daily business. Now let's talk about the psychological. That's why you're here, okay? The question comes down to, during this time, I asked Billy, what do you want? And I've asked every one of my professional athletes the same thing. What do you want to become during this time? Write it down in that training log. It's very easy to set pie in the sky dreams. But what I want you to understand, and during this time, is I want you to focus on the things that you can do to be successful. What do you want to become when you leave here? If you didn't like the fact that this past season you weren't playing a lot, now is the time for you to make a difference. I know it's easy to say, well, I can't go to my private coach. I can't go to the strength gym. I can't do the other stuff. But you can. If it's truly what you want enough, you can do this, okay? And you've got to set a daily routine. Literally in your training log, write it down. Don't sleep till noon every day. Don't sleep till 11 every day. Set your alarm like you're going to school. If you don't want to get up at 6:30, at least get up by 7:30. Nothing good happens for people who are sleeping in their bedroom until noon. Nothing. Because you are waking up sluggish. You're waking up tired. Get up and set a routine. The emotions that you feel are powerful. Okay? And I want to remove the regret emotion. I want to tap into the desire and the fire that's inside you. Okay? Cameron, I know, like you're going to school. Maybe an hour later. That's okay. Okay? But ride the waves of emotion. You're going to have a ton of emotions that are going to hit you. Just yesterday, I was driving in the morning, and I had this overwhelming, or 2 days ago, I had this overwhelming sadness that hit me as I was driving and there was no traffic, right? And I was sad because what I love to do is communicate with athletes. And I'm working with them. I'm still communicating with them. But, you know, it's really difficult to be excited when we don't have a competition right around the corner. So that emotion was there. But what I did, instead of getting mad at myself for feeling sad that I was having that thought, I changed it. And I said, that's a normal emotion. Why do I feel that way? Okay. Why do I feel that way? I feel sad that we're in the state we're in. Well, I think any normal human would feel sad for being in the state we're in. But instead of getting mad at myself, I just hit it, accepted it, felt it, and moved on. Okay? No blame. I don't want you to get caught up in the blame game. I don't want you blaming the organizations that cancel. I don't want you blaming the government. I don't want you blaming where the virus itself. Listen, there's a great saying, right? You know, there's a lot of things that are going to happen to you, but it's your response that matters. If you want to go back and read a brilliant, brilliant book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning will change your life. If they can survive Auschwitz and the concentration camps for years of being just created and absolutely just terrorized and still survive, those that could survive psychologically, you can find purpose in this suffering right now. Find the purpose. Isn't the real competition within yourself? A little bit, Larry. Isn't the real emotion within yourself? Yes, a little bit. The real competition is out there. The drive is inside you. Okay? But I don't want you to compete against yourself, because that means you're probably going to lose every day. I want you to set a bar and encourage yourself and motivate yourself to go get it. Same with emotion. Emotions are real, okay? But learn to understand them. See, nobody can stop you from getting better. No one. No one. No virus can stop you from getting better. Nothing. There are going to be athletes that are coming for your job, that are coming for your titles, that are coming for your money, that right now aren't feeling sorry for themselves, wouldn't or don't feel sad about it, and are getting to work. Right? Would you recommend turning off social media? No. I'd recommend filtering it and realizing what you see is tough. How do you deal with missing your teammates? Set up Zoom calls, FaceTimes, Skypes. You can reach out to people and talk. Look, more than likely, many of you did more interaction socially than you did in person. So right now we have a social barrier up, but that doesn't mean we can't communicate. But I will tell you this. If you stay at home and you sleep till noon, you wake up sluggish, there's always another time to call somebody. But if you get up and you get active and you take care of your business, the motivation and the execution is higher than ever. And as Billy said, I didn't prompt him on that. Gain wisdom. This video from Rory, and I will find a way to send it out to you guys from the Golf Channel, is so great. Emmanuel, how do I meet my coaches? Do it on Skype. Do it on FaceTime. Okay? There are people holding their breath that I fail. I'm going to make sure they suffocate. That's right, Ralph. Erica, our team created themes for our Zoom calls. I love that. Let's be creative. Let's find a way. It's about connecting. Yes, gain wisdom. Share a book. Have a book club once a week. Read a book. There's free PDFs online of every book that's been published. I hate to say that, but it's true. Ryan Holiday, one of the most brilliant writers who wrote The Obstacle is the Way, will tell you can find free PDFs online. Most authors right now will hook you up. They will hook you up. They're not preventing you. If you want something from me, you let me know. Okay? Yep. I go up and hit in my attic there's a way. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, here in today's world, we have all the access in the world, but I can tell you there's somebody out there who has nothing, who has a bent rim on a basketball goal, a basketball that isn't round, and is finding a way to dribble better. There's a baseball player in the Dominican Republic that's taking ground balls off of unstable surfaces, but learning how to. There are baseball players hitting bottle caps right now with broomsticks. There are golfers that are learning how to hit out of their backyard. If you watch Billy's social media, just last week, the beginning of this week, he was hitting golf balls or plastic balls over his house like he used to do as a kid. I used to field ground balls and throw against the side of a wall on shipping crates. There's a way, y'all. There's a way, y'all. There's a way. You got to be willing to do it, okay? What I want you to do is establish what is your plan. What are you going to do? Take that training manual, fill it out. I've got something for you at the end, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to give you a free giveaway for this, okay? I want you to try mindfulness. Mindfulness is very simply to take a deep breath whenever you feel an emotion and not judge it. And just accept what you feel. We don't have to react. I don't want people who are reacting right now anyways. I want people who are responding. Reactionary people are just trying to survive, get by the day, have no stress. Responsive people see the stress, see the BS that's going on in the world right now, see the trauma that's going on, the fear in the world, and they respond to it. They don't allow emotions to drive. Okay? Jay said, it would also be terrible if people went to the libraries, or trying to say to find books. No one said, Ned, don't go to the library. There's tons online. Okay? It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel nervous. But I think if you can practice self-compassion, as Julie said, if you can reconnect, and there's a brilliant app. I love HEADSPACE. I love it. It has been a wonderful thing for me. And I'm going to be honest, I've never gone past the first free episode on YouTube. I actually paid for HEADSPACE, excuse me. I've paid for it. But I love it. I sit and just do the first one because it works for me. I slow down my breathing. I do it a couple times a day. I did it right before we got on this call. And I just allow myself to be present with what I feel. It's okay. It's okay. But you know what? We got you. We got you. I also want you to practice gratitude. All right, student athletes that are on this call, I got something for you. I said this to your coaches last week, okay? But I got something for you. I want you to practice gratitude. This week, I want you to send three notes. Now, watch this. You ready for this? Handwritten. Thank you notes to 3 coaches or 3 administrators that have impacted you. 3 leaders in the field that have impacted you. You can get their email. I mean, you can get their mailing address. And all you got to do is say, hey, do you have a mailing address? I'd love to send you something. 3 people. Say thank you. You know, so many times we're so caught up on what can the world give me that sometimes we need to give a thank you back to the world for what it does give us. Despite the fact that there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of people suffering right now. And I will tell you this story. When my dad was sick back in 2011, I was just starting my business. And before I had started, I was still working for the company I work for. And my boss at the time allowed me to stay in the ICU down in Florida with my dad for almost 2 months. I worked, but they gave me thanks. Right before I did this teleconference, that boss texted me out of the blue, and I told her thank you. Okay? I've told her many times. But I remember sitting at a restaurant one night. We had gotten away while they were doing some work with them. And I sat there, and I remember looking around thinking, is the world ever going to get back to normal for me? And it did. It's just different. The world always changes, and our experience does too. Practice gratitude. Okay? I can guarantee you, the next time you struggle at the plate, the next time you struggle with a shot in the golf course, the next time you get taken out of a basketball game, there might be a little bit more gratitude for at least the fact that you're getting to do it. So now what are we going to do? Let's really separate the facts and the myths. Okay? Let's make sure we know what we're talking about. And let's work to make an impact. Yeah, Madison, been on the golf course every day. Absolutely. People don't know how much you care until they know how much you love them, until they know how much you care. That's right. Okay. Impact. This was Billy. Okay. When the Players Championship canceled and he's based there in Jacksonville, he and the commissioner of the PGA took the 200,000 pounds of food that was planned to be given and sold at the Players Championship and donated it to hunger zones, charities that help hunger in the area. Listen, there's a lot of fear right now. I want you to do me a favor. I want every one of you to reach out to one of your elderly grandparents or parents and tell them you love them and you're thinking of them. I want you to reach out to somebody that you know that may be socially isolated right now and tell them that you love them. Tell them that you're thinking of them. You can send them food through Waiter or StubGrub or Grubhub or whatever it's called, right? You can do that. You can FaceTime them if they know how to use it. Okay? But I also want you to have a plan. I want you to get to work. Get that training thing started. Get that training plan started. Develop the opportunity to be the best. Don't wait. This is not a tomorrow thing. This is a today thing. This virus has a chance to infect us physically, but I'm more concerned about the impact it makes on us psychologically. Let's win the battle against this virus by having a plan, deciding what you want that builds that plan, and then being disciplined to get after it. The coaches that are on here, I can tell you right now, they're doing the same thing because I've interacted with most of the coaches that have come in here. Right? Yep, living with your grandma right now to protect her from the virus. God bless you, Emmanuel. Doing good work. Okay? There's a lot of things. Is there a headspace where we can monitor each other's as a team? That's a good question. I'm not sure, Chad. I don't know that, but maybe we can find a way to do it. There's some other apps out there. Vision Pursue is a team-based app that works on mindfulness. Ray, John Gordon, be careful watching too much news during this time and overwhelm and depress you. Ironically, the more it is, the more we turn to like a drug seeking to feel better. Exactly. John and I were texting 10 minutes before I went on this teleconference. Okay. Please follow John Gordon. Seriously. His positivity and his message is needed. I know many of you have read his books, Power of a Positive Team, The Energy Bus. John Gordon is awesome. He has a pure heart. He has the ultimate desire. He's transparent, and he's available. Okay? It's time to flip the script on this. You have an opportunity to do something. Don't be a passenger. Be better right now. Please, I'm imploring you, I'm asking you, wake up in the morning, make your bed, set a plan for the day, do it. If you do that for 1 week, I promise you're going to feel a boost of psychological energy and excitement that's going to hit you. Come on, please, 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 please. Coach Now has team spaces. Absolutely right. Check out Coach Now. Great, great app. Thank you, Trevor, for reminding me that. All right. All right, if there's any questions, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to answer all the questions that you guys have for me. I'm going to send a file out to you right now. You can download this. This is called the Opportunity and Growth Plan. Okay? What this does, you can download this. This is a mental worksheet that I've used with my professional athletes. Some of them that are on this call right now are going, whoa, wait a minute, I've seen that. Yeah, you have. Okay, I hope you've done it, and I'm calling you this week to make sure we've done it. The brilliance of it is it's going to force you to look into yourself. If you don't do this, you're crazy. Okay? You're crazy because it's right there. Listen, this is the time that we got to be different. We got to get better. We got to dominate this psychologically. There's one thing that I learned from working with individuals with chronic illness. All right, you ready for this? And this is important. Everybody listening, I want you to hear this right now. There's one thing that I've learned from everybody with chronic illness is when you take the fight to the illness, you can defeat it. You may not have perfect numbers. You may not go into remission, but you take the fight to it. You guys are sitting there right now. Your seasons have been disrupted. You don't know when you're going to play again, but take the fight to this. This is a good time for coaches to send a note of gratitude to their players, Frank. You are 1,000% correct. If you follow my Twitter, I want all my coaches to send thank you notes to their players one by one. I got a brilliant text from a college coach this week with the list of them all out and send them out. Do you think that made their players feel better? 100%. And not only did it make the players feel better, I can guarantee you it gave a burst of energy to each player that got a handwritten note from their coach that told them what they meant to them, what they're wishing for them, and how much they care for them. Please do that. Follow me on social media. I'm going to turn it over to the chat now. I'm going to share any questions that you guys have. Please ask. And I want to give a shout out to, I guess it's the Islanders. You guys are crushing the chat. Way to go. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed Billy. Make sure you follow him on social media. Give him a shout out and tell him thank you. And follow him. And don't try to beat him on the Peloton because those dudes, he's a freak. Okay? He's a freak. Okay? Thank you for this, Taryn. Thank you for coming in and doing this. Start the plan, William and Mary. Let's go. Don't wait on this. Coach Ed's right. My dad asked, what can a parent do to help the high school athlete mentally and physically during this time? Madison, it's very clear. Okay? The high school athlete has to want it first. But let's get a plan. Let's get our homework done in the morning. Let's find some creative ways to train. And let's find one thing that we want to improve on physically. And go to work. Also, you can watch YouTube videos or read a book together. One of the great things to do with a parent and a child, high school athlete is find some books. I would start with The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. If you don't want to read the Mindside Manifesto, which is my book, read The Obstacle is the Way. Okay. Give me an example of a goal now without a known timeline. Yeah, I know, Ralph, that's tough. And I've had a couple athletes text me and say, how do I set a goal for something that I really don't know? So how about we just set a goal that doesn't have a competition as a timeline and set a goal of every day that we meet certain standards. Instead, let's get up in the morning and can we win the day? Because there's an old saying, if you can win the day, you can win the month. Excuse me, if you can win the day, you can win the week. If you win the weeks, you win the months. If you win the months, you win the season. See, I think our goals don't need to be down the road. I think our goals right now need to be right in front of us. And I think it needs to be what we do in front of us to win those moments. If you say you're going to get on the Peloton, do it. If you say you're going to cook at home, do it. If you're going to go for a walk around the subdivision, do it. Keep a training manual and keep an example of it. Ralph, that's how you're going to build something. Right now, your goal is you. It's making you better every day. Okay. Thanks, David. Good to hear from you. Hope your golf game is good. Thoughts of postponing the Masters? It's a reality. It just tells you the seriousness of what we're doing out there. But I know it'll be played in the fall. I've got all the hope in the world that it will be. And you know what? We're going to get to see Augusta National in a completely different way. That's kind of cool, isn't it? And I think we'll all be really excited to hear it. Instead of seeing the blooming azaleas, we're going to see something different. Let's celebrate it. I think it'll be fun. Thank you, Eva. I appreciate that. Where can we download once downloaded? You should be getting a link on your email that'll come out from that. Go Bears. That's right. Even if we don't have a goal, you can always have a list of commitments. That's right, Erica. I agree with that. Let's take the fight. That's right, Matthew. Start a weekly timeline. Share it. Thank you, Tate. Your sister and you enjoyed this. Please, let's do it again soon. I'll do it as many times as you want. How can we get the Mindside Manifesto? I tell you what, we will send a follow-up with a link and go from there. Billy's full name and social media. How about this? Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, Billy. It's at BillyHo_golf. At BillyHo, H-O, _golf. If you go to my timeline, you'll see it. Okay. All right, what else? Let's see. How can a junior golfer reach a scholarship goal? I know. That doesn't have tournaments to show progress and potential to colleges. Well, here's the deal, Spence. Everyone else is in the same position you are, right? So here's the way I look at it. The start line got shifted. And we're going to have another start. And who's going to come out of the gate faster? Are you going to come out of the gate faster because you did the work when other people didn't? And you're going to realize that you have something to offer to coaches. If you have a training manual, listen to this. If you have a training manual and you've kept everything that you've done during this coronavirus lockdown, don't you think it would be interesting for a coach to see the motivation that you had? Send that to them. Send it to them. Show them that you came back and you got your work done. Okay? You can control working the plan and staying committed. That is 100% within our control. You're right, Erica. Trevor, thank you for the key topics. I appreciate that. Go Bears, Coach Drinkard. Thank you for all your support and everything you've ever done. Coach Drinkard was the first coach that ever believed in me. Love her to death. And I think the world of Coach Michelle Drinkard. Ray, the best advice for helping senior college athletes. They may be granted another year of eligibility, but may not be able to come back and will never have. Yeah, Ray, I don't know what to tell you with that. That's the nasty side of this moment. There are victims in this. There are victims that have lost eligibility. There are victims that lost their life. There's victims that have lost family members. I'm not trying to compare those, and I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. If I'm a university or high school, I try to make it as special as I can for them. I try to let them know how much they meant to our program, and while it's not fair, it's very similar to a season-ending injury. That does happen. And I think it's time for us to realize that if they don't get their eligibility back, that their careers are over. And they're going to feel robbed. But I don't want them to feel like a victim. I want them to focus on the joy and the success they did learn from what they went through. Okay? We as senior athletes always want the Cinderella moment. But the Cinderella moment doesn't always exist. And sometimes we put more pressure on ourselves. So Lisa, Coach Strom, yes, Golden Flashes will continue the climb. The climb didn't stop. All we got is, you know what? We just got a storm going through the climb right now, Coach. That's it. That's all we got. It's just a storm, and we're going to manage this. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Michelle, assistant golf coach at Columbia College. Oh, I play golf with somebody who went to Columbia College. I'll have to make sure I tell them that. Thank you, Jeffrey, for putting out Billy Ho's information. Love this and need this as an athlete. Starts today. Morgan, I needed you as much as you needed me. This gives me purpose. I promise I would come on every single night if people wanted it to do it. We're one day closer to the end, Islanders. That's right, Laura. Okay. Tom, great book, The Mindset. Thank you very much. It was a heart and soul moment for me to share it. How great is Tiger Woods? Kobe brought Michael Jordan's mentality in everyday training. You know what? The beauty of streaming right now. We were talking the other day in the house. I went through Hurricane Andrew, where we lost electricity for a week and lost a lot of unknown. And I know my teammates lost 28 days or their homes in South Florida. We saw Katrina. And there were times that we didn't have electricity. Be thankful that while we are socially distanced or isolated or sequestered, we have the ability to stay connected. You have a library of information on YouTube. Study every moment of it. That's good for you. Advice for senior college athletes who are uncertain of their playing careers. Charlie, I would make two plans. I'd make a plan for return and I'd make a plan for transition. That way you don't feel like the world's been taken out from underneath you. Okay. If you need help, send me an email. I'll help you with that. Gladys, this was priceless and much appreciated. I have a sense of direction, not only for my athletes, but for myself. Thank you very much. Good vibes from Pennsylvania. I know that Rita's Water Ice should be opening up soon, so have one for me. Any advice for sticking to training manual habits in a couple weeks as things get tougher and tougher? Jay, it's a great question. The only choice that we have is every morning we have a choice. We have a choice to be engaged or a choice to feel defeated. I refuse to be defeated. Choose to be engaged. Thank you, Ryan, UAB Women's Golf. I hope to see you out at Greystone soon. $1 million idea. That would be such a differentiator for college coaches. Okay. Yep. Thank you, Andy. Is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'd love to come down and see you guys at U High. Okay. How can we watch this over again? You should be getting a link when I hit end. Doug, can you talk about the importance of empathy and compassion and how to communicate to the parents of athletes who are struggling to make things fit? That's a great one. As coaches, I would reach out to the parents of your senior athletes and your athletes that are lost. It doesn't take much time to take a phone call. I know a lot of people are struggling right now and don't know what to do. You don't need to have a solution. Sometimes we just need to be an ear and say, you know what? I feel really bad for you that you've had to go through this. And I agree with you. Empathy just means I can connect to you. I can feel what you're feeling. Compassion it's not feeling sorry, but it's allowing yourself to not judge, I guess is the best way to put it, that feeling. So Doug is right. Reach out, coaches. Thank you for the awesome webinar. No, thank you. All right. Texas State women's basketball. Love that place, San Antonio. Maybe next time I come down to Texas State, we can go to the Magic Time Machine. I don't know if it's any good anymore, but I lived there when I was 5 and 6. It's the greatest place in the world. When you're here, I'm here. Thanks for giving me the tools to help myself, and thank you. Madison, do you have a guideline that high school girls golf athletes on how to prepare for college golf? Madison, I think the question for that is when you've transitioned to college golf, it's going to be unlike anything else that you've ever done. It's going to be hard, but it's kind of like leveling up on a video game. If you think it's going to be as easy as the previous level, it's not. So it's not personal. Learn to solve the level that you're at and learn from older players. There's great wisdom on your team. Don't be intimidated by them. Take them to lunch. Take them to breakfast. Hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. Okay. New York Islanders elite hockey will be training hard while the others search for toilet paper. Damn straight, Alexis. That's right. All right. Islanders elite are doing their Zoom workout tomorrow. All right. Yes. I love it. You guys are wanting to get on that Zoom workout for the Islanders elite. I love it. See, there's ways to connect. Ways to connect. Listen, I want every one of you guys to get better through this. We can succeed and we will dominate. Don't let this win. Don't let this win. Thank you, Sarah. Any golf books or articles to recommend? You know what? Anything that makes you better is going to improve you in golf. Seriously. It doesn't have to be a golf book. I think any of the Bob Rotella, the Vision 54 books are brilliant. I think if you are interested and you scratch the itch, it's always better than doing something that reading a book just because somebody told it to you. If you want to study a great book, there's a book called The Endurance by Caroline Alexander, and it chronicles the leadership lessons of the greatest maritime disaster ever. But there's a leadership lesson there about Ernest Shackleton. Pick up that book. I'll send that out too. Inner Game of Tennis. Great book, Josh. You're exactly right. Okay. I'll stick around for a few more minutes. If you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm happy to ask. Keep touching lives, Brett. Thank you for being in my life, Luke. Thank you. Yes, you got it, Doug. Happy to help. Or David. Are there any other questions? Can you please, I want every one of you to hit me up on social, on Twitter. You know where to find me. Okay. If you're currently an injured athlete, how should we get better? You know, it's kind of funny. One of the greatest fears that happens with an injured athlete is they feel like they're missing competition. Well, Jamie, you're not missing anything now. Okay. Interact with your physical trainer, your sports medicine trainer, your athletic trainer, your strength and conditioning coach. I don't know what level you're at. But you know, right now you got to win. Your competition is winning the battle you're in of your injury. And it's a journey. It's not an immediate arrival. Too many times we look at everything in our lives with this light switch moment that it's all going to turn on and it's all going to be easy. And I think I think the best thing that we can do is turn towards ourselves and figure out what we can do right now. And if right now the best you can do as an injured athlete is touch your toes, then let's work on touching our toes the best that we can. And I don't mean to minimize touching your toes. When I had my hip replaced, there was a very exciting day when I could touch my toes. Okay. Chad, how would you go about talking about internal confidence and external confidence? External confidence is a reflection of the internal confidence. Here's what I would do, Chad. I don't know what sport you play, but figure out exactly what you know in your game that you see confidence, where you see confidence at. So for instance, if you're a golfer, is there certain thing in your full swing that you feel something that you know confidence is coming? Start building that confidence and journaling what you're growing, and all of a sudden the external confidence will happen. I'll have some more on that coming soon. It's a good question. Jay, any common mistakes to avoid in communication? Coming off as tone deaf with struggling players, families that are just listen to them. You don't have to solve every problem, Jay. Sometimes there's problems we can't solve. We just can't. Like, I can't solve why Burger King can't make good French fries. I just can't. I just can't solve it. I can't also solve the pain of somebody who's lost a loved one. We don't get over things. We get through things. So sometimes just listening to them and say, I am so sorry for what you're going through. I can't imagine what it feels like. Sam, thanks for following me on social. All right, let's see. Advice on quieting the negative internal voice. I did a book that was a follow-up to the Mindside Manifesto called The Champ and the Chump, on how to quiet your chump. That's your negative internal voice. Let me see what I can do here to try to get everything out to you guys. But if you look for the champ and the chump, the chump feeds off of negativity. It's always there. It's always there. It never goes away. And you're never going to have a positive comment in the heat of the moment, ever. So I think the best thing to do is to recognize that the chump is there and then feed the champ inside you. Find the one thing that you can do. Okay. Any group workout suggestions? So Chad, because you play golf, write down the 4 areas of your game: putting, or driver, ball striking, short game, putting. Write down the 3 things in each of those areas that you know when you're confident you're doing those things. Then build your training plan to grow around those areas. You'll get confident quickly. Any group workout suggestions? If you're talking about physical workouts, you got the wrong person. I hate working out. Sorry. But I think if you go online, there's some great workouts. And I know a lot of strength and conditioning coaches right now are very interactive on social media because they want to help people move. You know, remember, most of the people in the coaching field, in the healing fields, we're helpers, we're healers. And that's what we got brought in to do. And so if you reach out to them, I bet they can give you some good ideas. Okay. Yep, there's Jay's post at strengthcoach.com. Beautiful. Okay, there you go. I think there's some brilliant ideas out there. You just got to do them. Tomorrow is not the day to do them. Well, now it's already late tonight, but tomorrow doesn't exist. Tomorrow morning, it's dominate today. Yeah, Sally's just said Sanford Strength and Conditioning on Instagram for good at-home workouts. You know what this is doing at the end of the day? You know what we're going to really learn from all this? That we all got really good at cutting through the BS and getting the right information out to people. We all have value, and somebody out there is begging for what we have to offer. All right, any other questions? Should they create off-ice training plans on their own or share with the coach? I don't know if you have any limitations on sharing with coaches right now. Some areas do. But if you, I would create it first and then share with the coach and then tweak it from there, Frank. What's my golf handicap? You want my real one or my inside one? No. Let me see. I'll look it up. As of today, let me see. I'm going to give you the accurate one, Eric. 3.5, but it's been lower. I shot 1 over yesterday, and I was 1 over today after we got rained out. So it's coming back down. I like it to be lower, but I've got to get to work and fix some things. How can I change my mindset to appreciate the importance of social media right now? If you are someone who prefers to stay away from social media, well, if you prefer to stay away from social media, stay away from it. But if you need to get resources off of it, it's like going online. There's a lot of dangers online too, right? There's a lot of bad websites that are conspiracy theories or mind wasters, okay? Social media can be a mind waster. How many times do we need to retweet the same article, or how many arguments do we need to see? You can unfollow people or only follow the people that really make a difference in your life. My wife loves going on social media and looking at funny videos and animal videos. That's what she uses her social media for. It makes her happy. I think it's wonderful. All right, any other questions? And then we'll wrap up. Travis, appreciate it, Doc. Thanks for being available. The coaching family is really incredible. You know what? The coaching family is really incredible. We're going to realize coming out of this how amazing the human spirit is, how amazing we all are, and that we are truly unbreakable. Okay? How are you going to get better in the next 6 to 8 weeks? Get better today, Lisa. Just get better today. This is my first webinar with you. So much great insight. Thank you. I hope I got these. Don't worry, not coronavirus. We got a lot of allergies going on. Favorite club in the bag right now? Let's put a new driver in. Favorite club in the bag right now? I've got a driving iron that I love. Maybe if my other tour players that are on here can speak up, maybe I can take them on when they come back in town, but I get strokes. You guys those guys are so good, and those ladies are so good. Okay. Thank you. God bless, Megan. Thank you. I'm going to go home and have dinner with my kids who are 22 and 19. My daughter, my 19-year-old, had her birthday yesterday. And we're going to put together puzzles. You know what? Do something different. Private practice dietitian in Houston. This has been so helpful and insightful. Thank you, Allison. Thank you. Hey, I can guarantee you right now, Allison, if you're on social media and you retweet on my Twitter feed your contact information, I bet people will reach out to you about what to eat right now. Okay? All right. I'm going to sign off. God bless each and every one of you. Stay healthy. Wash your hands. Let's defeat this virus and let's emerge on the other side of this. And I got to be honest with you. I think one of the funniest videos I've seen in a long time, but it's so true. Matthew McConaughey. There's always a green light on the other side of the red light. Now let's go. Thank you, Laura.